Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Thank you all so much for being with me here today. I appreciate each and every one of you so very much. Today, super excited to share with you my wrap-up video of Axpona 2025. Thank you all so much for the comments on the first video that I did on Axpona 2025, as well as the 3 videos that I did, one for each day while I was at Axpona 2025. Links to those videos will be in the description below. The first 3 videos that I did while at Axpona, I did video and sound clips of several of the rooms. I couldn't include everything because most of the clips that I took, YouTube flagged, and I couldn't because of the artists wouldn't allow them to be published. And so I had to pull out several in those first 3 videos, one video per day that I was doing live at the Axpona 2025. And so a lot of the clips that I had, those videos were probably close to 30 minutes long, maybe 40 minutes long each, but I had to pull out a lot of them because I just simply wouldn't allow them to be published. So I had to pull out several of those. Most all the ones that are in there, they indicated were blocked in some areas. So sorry if there's some areas that weren't able to see some of those videos that I took while at Axpona 2025. Well, today I want to wrap up my Axpona 2025 experience. What a wonderful time that it was. I had such a great time. Today I want to talk about 20 to 21 rooms. We're going to be quick. We're going to be brief. Also today, as we go through these rooms, I'll be talking about music that I heard in those rooms. And that's really one of the things and a lot of the reasons why I chose these rooms, not only because of the music, but the sound quality of the systems in those rooms. They were actually wonderful. Yes, I've got rooms that start at, well, there's some that are in there that are stratospheric, crazy expensive. The $1 million Magico room for sure was one of them with the D'Agostino electronics. But I've got a few rooms, and I'll talk about these as well, that you don't have to spend a ton of money to get great sound. The room that comes to mind is the ELAC room, and we'll talk about that as we go through this list of 20 to 21 rooms that we'll talk about. At the end of that, as well as we're talking about that music, at the end I'll prioritize my top 6 rooms that I heard at Axpona, and really they're not all expensive. There's some that are actually less in price, if you will. Of course, that all depends on what your idea of cost is, but we'll go ahead and talk about that. I bought some albums while there at the marketplace at Axpona. One of the album CDs, essay CDs that I bought was this here. It's the Wonderful Sounds of Quality Records pressing. I was thinking about buying the album, but for $95, and this was, I believe, $40, you get 2 CDs, and the sound quality is absolutely wonderful on this. I'm glad I picked that up. From Mobile Fidelity, I just picked up the Black Beauty, Miles Davis at the Fillmore West. Love Miles Davis. We're going to be talking about that album here in the future as well. I also picked up from the Analog Productions Atlantic 75 series, Dusty in Memphis. We'll be talking about that in a future video as well. Love Dusty. She is awesome, Dusty Springfield. And then also picked up the new Tracy Chapman album. I've got the original pressing, and so we'll probably we'll talk a little bit about that. I know many have already discussed this, and so we won't get too crazy with that, but we'll be talking about that as well. And there was another couple of albums that I purchased at the show that I'm going to talk about because they were actually being used in a room that I was at. And so let's go ahead and get started. But before we do, if you like what you see, please go ahead and subscribe. But as always, please leave comments in the comment section below. I can't tell you how much I appreciate that. Thank you so very much. Let's go ahead and get started with 20 or 21 rooms at Axpona 2025 that had killer sound. The first room I want to talk about is the PS Audio room. There was a lot happening in this room, and I loved being in there. Of course, they introduced a new PMG Signature Series preamp, DAC, phono preamp, and transport. Super excited about those, really excited. But the sound in the room was fantastic. When I was there and listening, the speakers that they had that we were listening to were the FR10s. They were driven by the BHK 600 monoblock amps. Not really sure about the preamp that was being used at the time. They did have, as you can see here in the picture, the PMG signature preamp on top, but I'm not sure that that was being done. And I'm not really even sure of the source. It was likely their air lens with one of their DACs. So I'm assuming that's what it was. The album and the music that they were playing is a new, I've never heard of Joe Morello, but they were playing Take Five by Joe Morello. And oh my heavens, of course, it's Take Five, obviously, you know, originally done by Dave Brubeck Quartet, and is a classic all in itself. Well, this version of it, they were playing the drum solo at the start of the song by Joe Morello, and it sounded phenomenal. I tell you what, those FR10s, they sound absolutely fantastic. Great sound, great music. Joe Morello, really excited to get to know who he is. The next room was Quintessence Audio, and I love this room because it had the set of speakers that I currently own in this room, and the sound was really pretty good. I mean, it wasn't certainly the best I heard at the show, but it certainly wasn't the worst either. And so I really enjoyed this room. It was, of course, the Wilson Watt Puppies being powered and ran by the Boulder 1110 preamp, 1108 phono preamp, 1151 power amp, clear audio reference Jubilee turntable, the Hanna Unami Red, and of course a rack of DCS Rossini Apex streaming DAC master clock, and it was all transparent cable. I thought the sound was really quite good. Of course, my purpose for being in Axpona was looking for electronics to replace my old electronics for my new Wilson Audio, the Watt Puppy speakers. And of course, I can't look at the Boulder, at least what they had in this room, which is just the Boulder stuff alone was nearly $100,000. Not to mention, you know, the reference Jubilee turntable and the DCS Rossini Apex streaming DAC and their master clock. I just couldn't even go there. But the music they were playing in there was fantastic. It was Jeff Beck, Hypnotica, and I got a lot of Jeff Beck, but I didn't have this song on any of the albums that I've got. And so it is just really great. Of course, the guitar is excellent, but the dynamics, the bottom end, is just fantastic. And it sounded so good on this system. Jeff Beck, Hypnotica, and I guess I'm pronouncing that correct. The next song that was in there that I really like was a Thermilius Monk, Ruby My Dear. Of course, this is off the album Thelonious Monk and John Coltrane. I am so sorry. But Ruby My Dear on this album, it just sounds fantastic. I love this album. What a fantastic track, and to hear it on that system, it was wonderful. As well in that room, they also had, and I believe this is one of the video clips on one of my videos that I did while I was there. They were playing the Illinois Jockette Swings and Thing, and I would imagine it was off Cobuz, I'm sure, but I do have the SACD, and I know for sure the sax, Illinois Jockette sax, is just absolutely fantastic. What a great sounding room that was. Also, Quintessence Audio had the Sonus Faber Stradivari speakers, and they were powered by the Audio Research Reference 330 monoblock amps, a Reference 10 phono stage, Reference 10 preamp, Clear Audio Master Jubilee turntable again. This time it had the Unity Tone Arm and Goldfinger statement cartridge, and then they had the DCS Vivaldi Apex streaming DAC with the Vivaldi clock as well. And the track that they were playing was just really new to me, something I've never heard before, and I'm going to probably slaughter this as I say these names, but it was Passacaglia, Adam Baldich, and Lezik Mosder, and I know I'm really messing this up, but the sound, the piano and violin in this track is fantastic. You can see it here uh, on Qobuz. Absolutely fantastic. I've been actually playing it here through Qobuz on my system, and it just sounds fantastic. What a great sounding room that was. Moving on to the next room. This was the Magico D'Agostino Wadax. This is the great big $1 million system that you see here. I couldn't even begin to tell you all the model numbers of everything, but just know that it's through the roof, stratospherically expensive. That's why they call it the $1 million system, which is probably over that. I don't know. But what they were playing while I was there that I thought was great was Hey Now by London Grammar. Never heard of London Grammar, never heard the music. It's kind of electronic. It sounded really good. The vocals are actually wonderful. Very nice bottom end, dynamic, as a lot of electronic music is, but great, great, great sounding room nonetheless. Vinyl sound room, where this is one of my favorite rooms that was put on by what the company was Vinyl Sound Room. And it was really the Warfedale Eliason speakers and the HiFi Rose RA180 integrated amp, HiFi Rose RS151 network streamer, the MOFI Precision deck, and MOFI Master phono preamp. This room sounded absolutely fantastic. Now, I believe the Warfedale Asylum Elysian speakers, I'm probably pronouncing that wrong as well, I think around $10,000 or $11,000. These speakers punch way, way above that price point in my opinion. This is a really great, great sounding room. They were playing Led Zeppelin, Going to California. Of course, I got that. This is off the Led Zeppelin 4. This is the Classic Records version of the album. Absolutely stunning sound. They were also playing Chris Jones' No Sanctuary. Of course, this is an old standby, for audio demonstration. The vocals are incredible. The sound quality is incredible. Stockfish CD, just an absolutely wonderful, wonderful sounding album. The next room that really took my eye, and I really love the music in this as well, is from Next Level Hi-Fi, and it was the Borresen O1 stand mount speakers, as you see here, powered by Aavik's new UX88 range of integrated amps, a brand new series of integrated amps. I'm not really sure what model number the one that they've got here was, but I can tell you what, it sounded fantastic. They were playing Prince, The Truth, and just what an incredible guitar and vocals on Prince. It sounded absolutely fantastic. Loved that room. All right, moving on to Axis Audio. Now they had the Gauder acoustic dark, I don't know if it's dark, DARC, MK2 series speakers, and they were being driven by Soulution 701 monoblock amps, 757 de-emphasis preamp, TransRotor turntable. This was an absolute wonderful vinyl room. When I first got in there, they were playing a song, and I'm going to slaughter this. That's why I'm putting them up so that you can see them. This is S. Bjorn's Svensson Trio, 7 Days of Falling. I've never heard of this group before, but this song was absolutely wonderful. A great, great jazz music. I loved it. This is a great, great music. The track was wonderful. I've been listening to the album on Qobuz. It's fantastic. Now, the next song that I heard, I was probably in this room for an hour or longer because it was great. They were playing vinyl in this room. Nothing but vinyl. It was great. The next album, and I actually found this down in the marketplace, they were playing was this album, Center Stage. This is on the Analog Productions label. It's a Wilson Audio label, but they were playing the Cowboys on this album. And I tell you what, it's dynamic. It sounds killer. It was beautiful. I absolutely loved hearing this. When I saw it down in the marketplace, I snagged it. I bought it. I thought it was actually wonderful and sounds great. Then they played another album, of course, that I did have as well. It's called also Sprach Drustra. Sorry, it's Fritz Reiner and the Chicago Symphony. It was absolutely wonderful sounding. I believe this is in one of the clips that I took on one of the days that I was there, the live clips that has the audio. So that's one that you could probably listen to while I was listening. But the system was absolutely wonderful. The speakers, the solutions, electronics, it was a fantastic room and sounded great. Going back to playback distribution, the Vienna Acoustics Mozart Infinity speakers, the floor standing speakers, they're great. This room, I love this room. This is one of those rooms that I thought for the cost was really incredibly, it sounded great. They are being powered by two Teac AP507 stereo amps, of course, in mono mode. And I listened to a few things in there, but the track that really caught my eye, and I was happy to know that I had it, was Miles Davis, Time After Time. This appears on the Bootleg Series Volume 7 Miles Davis album. I tell you what, it sounded killer on this system. The Vienna Acoustics Mozart speakers, wow, they're incredible. I thought the system for the cost was incredible. It sounded great. The room was set up very well. It just sounded wonderful. Okay, moving on. In the Luxman room, they had the Luxman 507Z integrated amp, Luxman DAC 07X, the Luxman Transport NT07, and a Luxman turntable, and they were using the Marten Oscar Duo speakers. These are small speakers, but I tell you what, they sounded fantastic. They were playing Elvis Presley Fever. I have the Elvis Presley album, but I couldn't find it. But they were playing Fever. It's also on the Wonderful Sounds of Male Vocals album on the Analog Production label. And it just sounds utterly fantastic. Moving on, Gershman Acoustics, Lampizator, Pass Labs Integrated, and Cardas Audio. This room was absolutely fantastic as well. They were playing Annie Beeson, Killing Me Softly. I do have the CD here. It's an incredible sounding song. Annie Bison's voice is Annie Bison's voice is actually wonderful. Excellent sounding room. Loved that room. It was great sound. Moving on to the next room, T&A, the Solitaire S540 speakers, powered by the M40 HV monoblock amps, along with 300 series preamp and the streaming transport. Wow, I am not kidding you. This room sounded utterly amazing. Playing You Haven't Done Nothing by Jen Chapman and the Rosetta Trio. Never heard of this group before. I don't know for sure. I think I may have heard of Jen Chapman, recognized her voice as I was listening to it. Her vocals on this were absolutely fantastic. What a great sounding, very expensive system, but what a great sounding room this was, the T&A room. Moving on, VTL, Steinhem, and Nordist. Great big room, huge room, really huge room. Don't even know for sure what Steinhem speakers these were, and a whole bunch of VTL looked like monoblock amplifiers. I'm here to tell you what, the room sounded great. It really did. And the track that they were playing was one that I'd never heard of before. It is... the name of the track was It Never Entered My Mind, featuring Till Bonner Live, Jeff Goldblum, and the Mildred Snitzer Orchestra. Never heard about it. I did know that Jeff Goldblum's kind of a jazz pianist part-time, so to speak. But this song, and then I've been listening to the album, this was fantastic. I love this. I don't know how I missed this. and not heard of this before, but it was absolutely fantastic. I loved it. Moving on to the EMM Labs, Meitner, Kimber Cable, and Credo Audio Room. I'd really never heard of either of these companies other than Kimber Cable. And so I sit down and listen to quite a bit in this room, and I really enjoyed what I heard. The Credo Cinema LTM speakers driven by EMM Labs MTRX2 V2 mono amps, the EMM Labs pre-stereo preamp, along with the DA2i DAC, DS-EQ1 version 2 optical equalizer, and Dr. Fiker turntable. Of course, it was all wired with Kimber cable. The sound in the room was absolutely fantastic. A new person to me, Fink. The name of the song is Trouble's What You're In. It was live from Union Chapel in London. Oh my heavens, the vocals by this guy are absolutely phenomenal. Not to mention the quality sound of the guitar. Great sounding room, but just to get to know this Fink, I guess is the name of the artist. What a great what great music this is, and I'll be exploring his music as time goes on. But I love the sound in this room. It was really fantastic with great music being played. YG Acoustics, the Haley 3 speakers that you see here being powered by the Bel Canto Black ACI 699 integrated amp, a Pure Fidelity Harmony MK2 turntable, Cardas and harmonic distribution audio rack. This room sounded fantastic. Spent a lot of time in there. The track that really caught my eye, and I believe this track is in one of the videos that I did when I was there at Axpona. It was a drum solo, and I'm going to pronounce this name wrong. I'm going to get it wrong. I'm sorry, because it's totally new to me. I've never even heard of this person before. But Gojira, the name of the album is The Link Alive. Wow, the dynamics, the drum solo was phenomenal. I mean, there was quite a few people in there when I was there, and people were just like silent, not even talking, just watching this listening to this incredible track. It sounded absolutely wonderful. Staying with YG, this room here, the YG Acoustics, Haley 3 speakers once again, and the Zesto Electronics was also fantastic. They were playing, of course, Steely Dan, Babylon Sisters off the Gaucho album, and it sounded absolutely fantastic. Love YG Acoustics, the Haley speakers. Not cheap, but they are absolutely a wonderful sounding speaker. Moving on to the Harmonia distribution. Fine Audio F701 SP speakers driven by Pathos, classic remix integrated amp. Source was the Grim Audio MU2 media player streamer. I got to tell you, this room sounded absolutely fantastic. They were playing Marcus Miller. Papa Was a Rolling Stone. Never heard of Marcus Miller, but I'm not sure if I've heard of Marcus Miller. I may have heard of Marcus Miller, but I've never heard this track. I really enjoyed that. I've been listening to this on Qobuz. This is an excellent jazz track, excellent sound quality throughout. Been enjoying this album. It's wonderful. Moving on to the Mod Right Instruments and Alta Audio, along with Adam Speakers Room. They were playing, and this is really, I thought, was a great sounding room. I've always liked Mod Right Electronics. Alta Audio, the Adam speakers were absolutely fantastic. It sounded great. They were playing Eric Bibb, We Don't Care. Just never heard of this group before, this person. Excellent. Really kind of a blues track. Vocals were just absolutely, as well as guitar. Sound quality was absolutely phenomenal with this room. Playing this track by Eric Bibb, We Don't Care. What a great, great song. Moving on to the Purpuri Acoustics WR2 speakers, along with Bach, along with Atma-Sphere Electronics. They were playing Carly Simon, I've Got to Have You. Great, great. This is a great whole, this CD, whatever you have it on album, is fantastic. Excellent sound quality throughout. Loved it. This is just a great, great album and great music in this room. I actually love the Popori Acoustics WR2 speakers. I thought they sounded really good. Moving on to the Triangle Art Room. I know this is stratospheric. It's crazy. It's a lot of money. And it's really a kind of eye candy, if you will. But it was really kind of fun to sit down and listen to the room. It really wasn't very crowded in this room. It was crazy. They had the Metis horn speakers powered by the i20 single-ended integrated amplifier, a P200 tube phono preamp, and Anubis turntable. They were playing, and this is new to me too, so please forgive me on the pronunciation of some of these folks, but they were playing Ma L'Amour No by Gianni Basso and Renata Stellani. I've never heard of these before. The name of the album is Body and Soul. Oh my heavens, it sounds great. I couldn't find it on Qobuz, but I did find it on Spotify. And even on Spotify, listening to it at home, it sounds really good. Nowhere near like it did in the Triangle Art Room, I can tell you that. But it sounded absolutely fantastic. Great room, great music. Moving to the Perlisten room, Perlisten, the D8is subwoofer system. This can either be in wall or standing right next to the wall. The speakers were the Perlisten S7T limited edition speakers. And boy, this is a great sounding room as well. They're playing Blue Tofu. The name of the track is called A Battle Between. Excellent vocals. It's an electronic, and oh my heavens, dynamic. That subwoofer, you could really hear that subwoofer, that new subwoofer they were demonstrating in action. Okay, and the first video that I talked about this, the MOFI room, really what the MOFI room was talking about, it was really kind of neat. You had Andrew Jones, Sean Britton, and Rob Laverde, and I hope I'm pronouncing that right. They were discussing their use of DSD in their mastering loop. They go out to wherever, if it's say Sony, for example, and get a hold of the master tape with their Struder tape machine and copy that to DSD. That's something that we've all known for quite some time now. Well, they explained to us in that room in depth that process for doing it. And when they put that original master tape on their tape machine to copy it, to get ready to copy it, it's very time consuming. They indicated it takes them hours, if not days, to go through and get azimuth aligned, get the tape head aligned with the tape that they're copying so that they're getting the best sound quality. They talked about some of the albums that they did, you know, the Michael Jackson latest release. Of course, they actually talked about this album a little bit too, Love Over Gold, and they were talking about Private Investigations, the track on this album. And really, their philosophy is copying it to DSD. DSD doesn't degrade. It doesn't get, you know, where an analog master tape, you know, as time goes on, and the more that it gets played, it gets, it degrades, I guess. But so their explanation and their thoughts for using DSD is that it doesn't degrade and it doesn't, you know, over time have any real issues. And so that's what they were talking about. And, you know, and it makes a lot of sense. I understand that. Doesn't necessarily mean that I totally agree with putting a DSD step in what I would prefer, and still do prefer an analog through process. But it made sense with what they were saying, and I respect what they're doing and whatnot. And some of the albums that they've been putting out lately are just absolutely fantastic. The new Michael Jackson album that they were playing, Don't Stop Till You Get Enough, was the track on the new One Step. Michael Jackson has sounded absolutely fantastic. I haven't bought that album yet, either the One Step or the SACD. I need to, because I really do like Michael Jackson. But like I say, they did play Private Investigations off Love Over Gold on that Marantz Series 10 SACD player. And I got to tell you what, it sounded fantastic. One of the better sounding rooms at the show, in my opinion, which really gets us right to the point of, this is my 6th top 6 sounding rooms at Axpona. And number 6 is the Dynaudio Confidence 20A active speaker and the Moon by Sim Audio 891 streaming DAC phono preamp. They were actually playing a song, and I really probably should have put this in one of the categories above, but they were playing Tommy Emmanuel, Endless Road. Never heard of Tommy Emmanuel, but I tell you what, great guitarist. It sounded absolutely fantastic. My 5th place was the MOFI SourcePoint 10 bookshelf speakers, the BAT BK90i, the MOFI Master Phono Preamp, MOFI Precision Deck, Fender Edition, and the Marantz Series 10 SACD player. I really thought this room sounded excellent. It really did sound wonderful. My 4th place room is the vinyl sound room, playing the Warfedale Eliason speakers and HiFi Rose RA180 integrated amp, the HiFi Rose RS151 network streamer, and of course the MOFI Precision Deck and MOFI Master Phono preamp. This room sounded great, and I think this is one of those rooms for the money. And granted, you're probably looking at 15 to 20,000 there with the equipment that they've got. This was a fantastic sounding room. It sounded, I tell you what, it sounded excellent. Like I say, it's 4th place for me as best rooms at Axpona. The number 3 room was the Borresen room with the new M2 speakers, the new bass module subwoofers, along with the great a whole bunch of rack of Aavik electronics. That room sounded absolutely fantastic, and certainly one of the highlights at the show, at least it was for me. Number 2 on my list of the best sounding rooms at Axpona 2025 was the Axis Audio Room, featuring Soulution, the Gauder Acoustic DARC MK2 series, the TransRotor turntable, all analog in this room. It was fantastic. I spent a lot of time in this room listening to albums. It was wonderful. That's number 2 on my list of best rooms at Axpona 2025. The number 1 room for me at Axpona 2025 was the YG Acoustics Haley 3 speakers and the Belcanto Black ACI 699 integrated amp, pure fidelity harmony MK2 turntable, Cardas, and harmonic resolution audio rack. This room to me was killer. I thought it sounded absolutely wonderful. Not cheap, but really, really sounded wonderful. I thought the room was set up right. I thought things within the room actually worked for the system. I just thought that was just the best sounding room at the show, at least it was for me. But really, and I'm just going to throw this in, just best budget room at the show was the ELAC room, the ELAC DB62. I think they're under $500. They're powered by Alchemy amplifiers and preamps. Amps are around $1,700. You can either monoblock them or they can be in stereo. Of course, Alchemy preamp anywhere from $2,000 to $3,000, depending on how you have it set up. I tell you what, great sound, great audio. Doesn't have to be expensive. It can be really cost effective, and this room exemplified that to me. It sounded really, really good. That's my best budget room by far, was the ELAC room. Fantastic. As indicated, Axpona 2025 was absolutely a wonderful time. I'm looking forward to going to more audio shows here in the future. I know there's some coming up this summer that hopefully I can get to, as you know, I kind of still work on getting ideas and figuring out what it is I'm going to buy as far as an amp and a preamp. But this show went a long ways in helping me do that. Thank you so much for being with me here today. Like always, if you like what you see, please go ahead and put a subscribe, put questions, comments in the comment section below. Was you at the show? What were your favorite rooms? What did you think of my favorite rooms? Let me know your thoughts. I appreciate it so very much. Thank you all so much for being with me here today. Have a great day.